Good evening, everybody. And yes, you are listening to the Casual Movie Club. No, this is not John. This is Tina as a special guest host tonight again. However, tonight, I am still joined by the ever fabulous John.
Hello, everybody.
And the always dashing Brian.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
And tonight we are going to review 2006's The Lake House. And just so you know, for those of you that are first-time listeners, we do, here on the Casual Movie Club, take some of your favorite or not-so-favorite movies, watch them and review them so you can hear what our thoughts are. Please make sure you comment so we know what yours are, too. All right, John, take it away.
Thank you, Tina. Everybody, it's great to have you with us yet again for episode number 55 of the Casual Movie Club. Brian, how are you, my friend?
Man, I'm feeling good. It's Valentine's Day, and we just watched a movie.
That's right. We watched a movie, and a quintessential Valentine's Day movie, because this movie does kind of take place on Valentine's Day.
Which I didn't remember. I didn't remember that I'd seen this before, but I didn't remember it took place on Valentine's Day.
Oh, you've seen it before and you survived. That's amazing. Tina, how are you doing?
I am fantastic.
And by the way, let me just say welcome again to the podcast, and what a great intro.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic intro.
Awesome intro.
Thank you.
So, as always, let's start out with my favorite question.
Well, do we know what movie we watched?
We did.
Yeah, Tina said it in the intro. The Lake House from 2006.
Yeah. I missed that.
Yeah. So
I'm throwing everything off. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, you're good. Trust me.
I had a couple glasses of wine already.
Oh, me too. And trust me, I needed them. Anyway, so let's start out with my favorite question of all. Brian, how did you like this movie?
Well, John, you know that I've seen this movie before, and I am happy to answer a question, but first, what do you think, that I liked it, or do you think that I disliked it?
I don't know. That's why I asked you.
I hated it.
Yes!
I hated it. I'd seen it before, and it was. I don't know. I don't remember the mindset that I was in. I don't know if I saw it by myself or with people. I recognized I'd seen it before, and I just filed it in the back of my mind as that's a movie that I saw one time.
Okay.
So I wasn't surprised by the details, the time travel, any of the major plot points, but
you mean plot holes?
This rewatch, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Well, John, how did you like the movie? You loved it, right?
Yeah, John.
I am siding with Brian on this one. I absolutely loathed this movie. I feel about this movie the way you feel about 47 Meters Down.
I don't know if you could dislike it that much.
Oh, trust me. If you can dislike 47 Meters Down that much, I can definitely dislike this movie that much.
So I know we're going to do numbers at the end of the show, but straight off the bat, your gut reaction, is it appropriate to ask you how you would rate it right now?
Sure.
1 to 5, or should we wait till later?
I mean,
am I jumping the gun?
I'm not going to give you a number, but I can tell you that I would rate it at the bottom of any list that I ever make, and I regret spending money on this movie. But,
you spent money on this movie?
Yes. It did not come with Amazon Prime, so I had to buy it.
Oh, man. I thought I bought it on iTunes.
Okay.
And the Apple TV app tells you where else you can see it, and it said that you can watch on Amazon Prime, but you can also watch on Netflix. It's on Netflix right now.
Right now, it wasn't when we initially saw it.
Yeah. Well, shit. Anyway, whatever. I have it in there, and so if I get drunk some night and maybe I have a date over, we could watch that and shit on it or something. But yeah, this movie is just god awful. Now, I came up with this question that I want to ask both of you. So, if you could describe this movie in one word, what word would you use to describe this movie? So I want to start with Tina. What one word would you use to describe this movie?
Predictable.
Predictable? Okay. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Brian, what one word would you use?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I would say predictable is such a good one. I would say
you can also say that if you want to.
No, he has to use his own word.
I can't say the same thing.
Okay.
I would say sap fest.
So he makes up his own word.
It's a hyphenated word. It's a hyphenated word.
Yeah, nice. Sapfest. I agree. My word is disappointment.
Disappointment.
Yes.
Wow.
Because there are multiple scenarios in this whole movie that are nothing but disappointment. For example, and I mean, and then this all gets upended by the end of the movie. But like the disappointment factor is the fact that they can, quote, never meet. That date they have at Il Mare, that fancy restaurant that Keanu never shows up for, and then the fact that Keanu doesn't bring anything up when they're sitting on the porch at that party talking. It's like, bro, you had the option to say, hey, I'm the dude from the letters, but he didn't say shit. And then the next day you see them talking in the park about, she says, oh, you should have said something, blah, blah, blah. And then what's this, them communicating while they're not at the house? Because I thought that stupid mailbox, that time-traveling mailbox, was their only means of communication.
It is. That was just creative processing to show that they're having a conversation. They were still using the mailbox, but you already kind of got that earlier in the movie, so they're not going to sit there and have them stand at the damn mailbox.
Okay.
They just did a little creative processing to show they're having a conversation. And yeah.
Okay. I agree, Tina. However, the way that they, and I'm using air quotes here, spliced together the conversations was, I don't know, it took me out of that. When they were doing their walk around Chicago, and they were having like a back and forth conversation where she would cut him off when he would say something, and then he would like laugh like a heh or like a ha 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 in the middle of his conversation. Like that's something that you don't write that way. You don't write letters that way unless you're. I don't know anyone who writes like that unless we're texting each other in real time.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. It almost felt like they were texting.
My dearest Alex, here I am walking down the street. Go stop by number 27. Tell me about your favorite things. Oh, my favorite things are this, that, and the third. Well, these are my favorite things. Like, you don't write letters like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You text like that or send emails like that. And this was 2006, and I have another issue, Holt, but this was supposedly 2006. We had emails in 2006. We had basic smartphones in 2006.
Yeah, we're like 1 year away from the iPhone launch.
Right.
I'm about to start yelling. This movie.
Yeah, I can't.
There's so many plot holes.
Yes.
There are plot holes. So I want to say, I am not on the loathing category that you two are. However, I'm gonna justify this. I am not saying it's a great movie. What I'm saying is, hold on, relax, pull it back.
I'll just have some wine.
It is
Finish.
It is a fun movie for me to watch. Again, suspending that disbelief. So I'll have to put this out there. I am a huge sci-fi fan. I love fantasy, sci-fi, and so yes, the whole plot holes with the time traveling mailbox, all of that was just, that part of my brain had to be shut off. This is one of those movies that you can watch and go, okay, yeah, oh yay, oh love, la 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 la, yay, and feel good and be all sappy. So that's where my entertainment factor.
I'm a big fan of time travel. I love time travel as a plot device.
Right.
I do too. But this movie is not it. That's why I had to turn that part of my brain off. I couldn't even.
If you're gonna do it, I think you have to establish some rules for yourself, right? Would you agree that? Turn your mind off, suspend your disbelief. But if you're going to have time travels, establish some ground rules.
No,
if this movie did that, then they went about shattering those rules every chance it took. Let me give you some examples.
Oh boy, he's got a list.
they it, they are able to change time and space with just this mailbox, right? She is outside of her apartment in the pouring rain, and Keanu goes and plants a tree outside the construction site.
Oh,
and
I have an issue with
the tree just pops up out of nowhere and starts sheltering her from the rain.
Oh,
Yeah.
I take issue with that alone because, like, oh yeah, Keanu can just dig on the street corner of Chicago and plant a tree
that he stole from the other
that he
construction
stole from
site.
someone else. Like, what? I mean,
And-
hold
and
on. Let me
so-
go to New York and dig up part of 42nd Street and plant a tree because that's totally legal and totally possible.
And what we are talking about multiple different that alone is one of my biggest gripes with it, but we've now established like different dimensions because there's a dimension where Keanu died. The bus to Wabash hit him, he
Right.
died. Sandra Bullock he died in Sandra Bullock's arms. But because of their letters, he doesn't die. So what happened to the original Sandra Bullock where he died in her arms?
Right.
What happened to that Sandra?
And there's a shitload of not only plot holes, but time holes, because like you said, she tried to fight for him and tried to save him and everything. But then how does that whole event happen again?
That's what I'm saying. Yo, listen.
It doesn't make
so
any sense.
He goes to Keanu goes to the party and then dances with Sandra, right?
Right.
So and that's Sandra from the past. Okay?
Sure.
That's Sandra from the past. Sandra from the future, when Keanu dies in her arms, why doesn't she recognize Keanu?
Right.
She danced with him like 2 years before at this party that Morgan threw.
Right. And how do we know when we're looking at Sandra from the future or Sandra from the past? They both look exactly the same.
No, it's the haircut.
Oh,
So
really?
the 2004 Sandra had the long hair. The 2006 had the short hair.
Like,
That is true.
okay.
Yes.
That's
That's
Her
how you
hairstyle was
to-
different because remember when she said that was a bad hair year for me?
But my
Her
question
hairstyles
is,
were different.
so I want to kind of add on to yours. So she first saw him at the train platform.
Right.
And if you watch the movie, she looks straight at him.
Right.
So how did she
Yes.
not recognize him at the party?
The party hadn't happened yet.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. She
brought
saw
up
him at
Jane
the train.
Austen's-
She saw him at the train platform when he picked up her persuasion, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did she not recognize him at the party going, I've seen you somewhere before?
I can forgive that. I could forgive that.
Yeah,
because
okay.
that
You
was
got
just
that.
just a fleeting glance of a guy running after a train. You're not really going to remember. You're going to remember the guy. You're not going to remember maybe a lot of details.
You wouldn't remember Keanu Reeves, really?
I mean, I don't remember Keanu Reeves. I saw
me
him,
too.
but
I mean, you know.
Hey, baby.
Okay. The wine is kicking in the room, apparently.
Oh, you have no idea.
Okay. Oh, my. All right. So, I'm not going to argue that there aren't plot holes and that the writers of this, you can tell, were specialists in romantic movies. They were romantic.
They were high as fuck when they wrote this.
They were romantic writers. They were not. They needed one thing that this movie lacked was a writer that actually knew or was versed, or basically they needed a damn nerd as a writer to do the sci-fi part of it, like to
they
make
needed
the
a
plot holes.
whiteboard. They needed to write this out so they could look at it and reference it.
This is definitely. I don't think of this as a sci-fi movie at all.
But there's a sci-fi portion when you talk about time travel. That's sci-fi.
It's like 1% of the movie.
But you
It's a
just
big
told
part
me.
of the
You just
movie,
told me
John.
while we were looking at it that it was like a main premise, and you can't
Okay,
dismiss it. So
Fair enough. Okay, it's okay. It's fair enough.
yeah. I mean, you've got plot holes because of that. That's
Right.
the point. If you look at the romantic piece of it,
The romantic piece is cute.
yeah, exactly, but it doesn't have plot holes. It was well written. The kind of the it really was the development of the relationship, getting to know each other. Now, the one thing that I do disagree with was the message he left her during the walk. Graffiti on a wall in Chicago, it's not going to stay there for 2 years. Okay, I'm sorry. It's going to be gone.
Oh, and by the way, plot hole point out number one of many, I'm sure. We never established the difference in time between Keanu and Sandra.
Yes, you did. 2 years.
No.
Yes,
it's
2 years.
It's always been like 4 years.
2 years.
They never said that.
Yes, they did.
When?
Yeah,
At the beginning of the
early.
movie, when she's like, it's 2006, he's like, 2006? Are you freaking nuts? It's 2004.
He never said it's 2004.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He did. It was like his second or third letter to her.
Yes.
I do not remember that because I was looking for that.
No, because that's when she sat on the bed and pulled out the pictures when Jack was there, and she found the picture of her and her friends in the snowstorm and said...
And he was fixing at that time also.
He was fixing soup. And she said, hey, you're going to need this. And I think she gave him a scarf, right? And said, you're going to need this because it's a freak snowstorm and everybody gets sick. And he's like, snow, whatever. Ooh, come to Papa, when he poured the bowl of soup. And then he had the freak snowstorm. So they established it's a 2-year time difference. Okay. This movie takes place over 4 years.
I never caught on that.
Yeah.
Caught on to that.
It takes place over 4 years. So they start the letters and then 4 years later they meet at the mailbox. So it's 4 years.
Okay.
So they're always separated by 2 years until they meet at the mailbox.
How is that possible?
The magic mailbox, the magic of the United States Postal Service.
Right, but my issue with it is, like what Tina just said, they're separated by 2 years until they meet.
Because he gets her letter 2 years before the time happens. So when he got the letter for her to meet him at the mailbox, he had to wait 2 years and write the date down and then show up at the mailbox.
Right. So then 2 years later for him, wouldn't that also be 2 years later for Sandra?
No, because she just wrote the letter.
That's
not 2 years later for her.
That doesn't make sense because if they're both in different time, time zones, time periods.
They still exist in the same time. They just haven't met.
They don't exist in the same time. I think that's where John's confusion is coming in. They don't exist in the same time until they meet, because we are seeing their relationship with that 2-year gap. And then when Sandra puts that last letter in, and then she gets down on her knees and she starts crying because she didn't know that Keanu had gotten that letter. Keanu did get that letter. It was in his jacket pocket. Right before he stepped out in front of the bus, he stopped, looked at the letter, and he's like, oh, I'm not going to run across the street and meet her here at the plaza. I'm going to go back and hide wherever it is I need to hide for 2 years, then go to the mailbox.
That's the weirdest part of the movie, is if he got the letter, why wouldn't he change and still meet her in 2006 instead of waiting until 2008? Basically. So that is the weirdest part for me.
That's the biggest plot hole for me, because it looks like there are times where it looks like they're in the same time zone, like what Tina said before, but then there's other times where, like when Keanu's out of the mailbox and like the flag flips up and everything, they're 2 years apart. So then with that happening, how the hell do they meet at the end?
They're corresponding 2 years apart.
Right, but then how do they meet at the end?
But they're still
But
existing.
he should already be dead, though, which is the stupid thing. Yeah. He should be dead.
Right.
Well, when
he did die. He did die.
Yeah, that's the biggest plot hole. So the thing is
that it's like a plot canyon.
Well, so the thing is, when you're talking about when they're at the mailbox, you have to remember, John, that it's the Sandra Bullock of 2006 at the mailbox. His Sandra Bullock of 2004, she's in Madison doing her residency. So he's corresponding with the Sandra Bullock of 2006. The Sandra Bullock's character that he would have, if he tried to meet her, he would have had to go to her residency in Madison. That's where she was at in 2004. The look on John's face right now, it's all kinds of confused. So they still exist in this. So there is a Sandra Bullock's character in 2004.
But she's not communicating with Keanu.
No, that's the 2006 Sandra Bullock that's communicating with Keanu when he's in 2004.
We need a whiteboard.
Yeah. In 2006, when she's communicating with him, he's already dead. Or no, he's not dead yet. because she moves
No, he
out
lives
of
in
it.
the lake
Oh,
house.
well, yeah.
No, he doesn't live in the
he-
lake house. He was, in 2006, he was starting Visionary Vanguard Associates with his brother. So while she was in the lake house communicating with him, he was back in Chicago starting the business. That was his 2006 timeline.
So did he fake his own death or something? Because his brother said his brother said, "Oh, he died about 2 years ago today on Valentine's Day." And then Sandra runs to the mailbox and throws a letter in there.
That one is, that's a time paradox right there.
Which, in theory, he had already moved out of the lake house, right?
He moved out before she moved in.
Right.
So and she was running to the mailbox after she had moved out.
Yes.
So why is she going back up there?
Because that's how she can communicate to him. She
Yeah,
knows,
that's how they were
Yeah.
they were talking.
Yeah,
via the
because
mailbox.
it was
This
so
fucking
when
movie.
she runs back, it's almost exactly 2 years. Remember how they're 2 years separated on their correspondence?
Until the very end.
Well, they're 2 years separated on the correspondence. So he died on Valentine's Day in 2006. She goes to the mailbox Valentine's Day of 2008, which means he would have gotten a letter on Valentine's Day 2006 to stop him from walking into the traffic at Daily Plaza.
But then how do they meet?
He waits 2 years and
Waits
meets her at
2
the
years.
mailbox.
He goes into
Because she
witness
says, I'm at the
protection or goes into
mailbox.
hiding or something.
Yeah, he says, she says, I'm at the mailbox February 14th, 2008. Wait 2 years and meet me here. So he gets the letter February 14th, 2006 and goes, oh shit, I'm going to die. Goes on and lives his life for the next 2 years. And then Valentine's Day 2008, he meets her at the mailbox. And when she's crying, going, you died.
Which then that would be Sandra Bullock of 2010?
No, she's still the Sandra Bullock of
It's still
2008.
Yeah, it doesn't go past 2008.
Yeah.
That does not make any sense.
He waits
You
2
know what
years.
doesn't? You know what doesn't
But if
really
he's
make
waiting
sense?
2
though?
years, then so is Sandra Bullock.
No, she's not.
Why?
Because the letter goes back 2 years. She doesn't. It's almost instantaneous. He gets the letter in 2006.
Fuck this movie.
Listen,
this
listen,
movie.
listen.
There
listen,
are
listen.
major plot holes with it. Yes, there are.
The biggest plot hole though is when
Him
they
dying.
both realize
Yeah.
that this time traveling mailbox is happening. Sandra walks away from the mailbox where the magic is obviously happening. She's like, you know what? I'm done, and she walks away. What is that? She's confirmed that she's standing at this mailbox. She puts something in, opens the door, and it's gone. She closes the door. The flag goes up. She opens the door. There's a letter in there. That's magic, and she's conversing with somebody via a magic mailbox. And what does she do? She gets frustrated with the boring ass conversation and walks away.
Well, you got to
What
remember.
are you doing?
She's a logical woman. She's a doctor, okay? So she's supposed to be grounded in logic, so it's something she can't accept. Oh, come on. Our psyche do that all the time. We when we're presented with something that we just can't fathom and can't accept, our own minds shut us out
Like
and
this
change
movie.
it.
You're telling me that you wouldn't ask for the lottery numbers?
No,
You're
because
telling
I'm a
me that
weirdo.
you wouldn't ask.
No, I'm
for-
a
you
weirdo and
wouldn't
I'm cool
take
with
a
it,
chance?
but some people can't fathom this and they just shut down.
I
but-
can't fathom how she just walked away from that.
I mean,
that's
I'm
where
with
the
you,
movie's
Brian.
over.
I'm with
That's
you.
where the movie. That's where the movie ends for me because
And that's like 10 minutes in.
there is no person in the world. There's no person in the world who once they confirmed they have a magic mailbox, they have a pen pal from the past, that they would just walk away from that.
Well-
Like, oh, this conversation is boring. This isn't happening.
Well, I mean,
And walks away.
I guess for me, kind of along those lines is, okay, if you're really in love with the guy, why wouldn't you try to, why wouldn't, ugh.
Nice one.
And if he was like really in
Yeah.
love with her, why wouldn't, I mean, obviously he knows she's at the mailbox and at the lake house. Why wouldn't he be there? Before he dies, why does he wait that long?
Exactly. Why, if the two of them are starting to get lovey-dovey with each other, why doesn't he just go up to the lake house?
Just hang out at the lake house.
Yeah.
Wait for her there.
Well, I mean, obviously he got a letter from her 2 years before, so, he could wait 2 years and show up at the lake house a lot earlier than what he did. It shouldn't have taken him a 2-hour script to.
See,
You know,
this should have
to
been
do that.
like a
So-
30-minute movie.
Yes, John. Yes,
Yeah,
they
it really-
it up
yeah.
with all of this bullshit. I don't care about like this girl who has the hots for him.
Get
his
rid of all
fucking
that.
Daddy.
We
his
don't care
daddy
about
issues,
Morgan.
his-
We don't care about, any of
I
this shit.
don't
We don't care about
care.
seeing him on the job site. Just cut all that shit out.
I wrote that down. Every
But leave the
time
dog
time
in.
travel stuff stopped and Sandra was talking to her colleagues or the little girl that was her patient, and I just tuned out. I couldn't take it. It was so boring.
But you got to leave the dog in.
You gotta leave the dog.
The
What's
dog.
up with the dog?
I had major issues
I
with the
knew
dog.
it.
Is the dog
I knew
magic? Is the dog a time traveler?
No.
I mean, the dog
No,
would just.
this dog
The dog just ran away whenever the fuck he wanted.
she.
led them
Whatever.
together. This dog caused Keanu to find out about the party. The dog was matchmaker.
Yes, the dog was magic too, okay? We
And
all know
I
dogs
thought it
are
was just so convenient that the dog takes off running and he just happens to find Morgan's house and Morgan carrying the beer in. Like, oh, it just so happened that's where the dog went.
Oh, I like
How
beer
convenient.
too. Let me help you carry those in.
Oh, okay. The dog is like a little magical fairy, okay? The dog is
Dog
part
is-
of the mailbox magic, all right?
No, it's a magical mailbox and a magical dog.
Where did this dog come from? This dog came out of nowhere and just befriended Keanu and then ran away to never to be seen again, but then winds up with Sandra.
Brian, the dog is a magical fairy,
That's
apparently.
right. That's right. Okay, so we get okay.
Fucking movie. What'd you say, Brian?
The dog was pretty whimsical.
Yeah.
Yes, because everyone has stray dogs that are perfectly groomed and perfectly
That was
trained
a
right up to
perfect-looking
them.
stray dog,
No.
though. That dog was so cute.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
cute.
John's not a dog person.
No. Okay, so clarification. I'm not a dog person in that I don't want dogs getting all up in my personal space, but I am fully supportive of like animal rights and no cruelty to animals and everything. I have no problem donating to like ASPCA. I'm totally all about that. Just keep the animals away from me.
See, and I'm on the other end of like I have a dog that's
You have
very
like 5 dogs in your house.
there's 4, 2 of them are my roommates. One's a weird stray and one's just a recent addition. And he's very large and very sweet, and yes, and he snuggles. He's all
got
up
2
in
dogs.
your business. Huh?
I've got 2 little dogs. They're the cutest.
See?
What are their names?
Bark Ruffalo and Whoopi Goldberg.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Bark
Okay.
and Wolfie.
That's nice.
Do you have a dog with you right now?
No, they're downstairs in the other room. They would be all up arms right now.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Okay.
Big of a distraction.
All right, cool. Okay. Okay, so I have a question for Tina. When a dog like that just bolts and runs away, at what point do you just say, fuck it? Like,
You don't. Not if it's your dog. No.
Brian, what
Yeah.
say you?
Yeah, no. I'm following that dog. That's my dog.
Yeah. I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing the car. I'm calling people. Oh, yeah.
But wouldn't the dog have a collar on it so if someone finds it, they can bring it to the police or animal control and they can...
Well, yeah, but if I can prevent something bad from happening to the dog, then I'm going to chase it down. Like, if I'm spending a significant amount of time with that dog, and it's living with me for 6 months plus, that dog's part of the family, and I'm going to do what I can to take care of and protect that dog.
So then do you subscribe to the whole, like, dog dad thing?
Dog dad.
Like
Yeah.
they're your fur babies.
Yeah, do you refer to them as, like, your children, or, like, do you call yourself a dog dad? Or, like, do you call yourself a dog mom?
No, I don't. I don't begrudge anyone who does, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're still dogs.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I adore
Okay.
my pets. Don't get me wrong.
I
Sure,
love
but-
my dogs very, very much.
But you're not a dog
and
dad.
I miss them when I'm away from them, but
Yeah.
I don't. They're still dogs.
Okay. I mean, not to get on a tangent, but, the whole dog parent thing just... no. Anyway. moving on.
But no, I do adore my dog, and I'm also a cat person. So any pets, I like lizards too, and I'm an animal person. So yeah.
I thought it was funny. When I forget who Sandra was talking to, but she was saying, I think she was talking to her mom, and she was saying like, and her mom was like, "Oh, are you talking to somebody?" And she says, "Yeah, there is someone. It's kind of a long distance relationship."
No, that was the other doctor.
Oh, right. Okay.
They were at the bar. It was on her birthday.
I thought that was funny.
Oh, yeah. I loved her accent, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
She's an amazing actress.
She's from Iran, I think. Sorry,
Yeah,
Iran.
cool.
Iran.
I think
yeah.
she's from
I
Iran.
love her accent.
Yeah, her accent's awesome.
She's been in multiple movies, and I always know her by her voice. And
Yeah.
she's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a great voice, like low and husky.
Yeah, and it's a French accent, actually.
Is it French or I would think it's Iranian.
Iranian.
She might be a mix.
Yeah,
Might be a mix accent.
her parents. For some reason, I'm thinking it was French. For some reason, of what I've read up on her, but I could be totally wrong. So nobody come after me. Come on, comments. Be nice.
Nah,
Okay.
that's not that important.
I know, but there's
Yeah,
some.
we don't fact check on the show.
No.
So,
It's too much work.
yeah, way too much.
I can't tell you how many times I wrote like, when will this end, or when will this be over, or like, are we done yet? I've got a couple of those in my notes.
So to give everybody that is listening just a little bit of a visual here of us watching the movie, John and I are sitting on the couch together. He has his laptop in his lap, and all of a sudden you hear, and I'll look over, okay, and then another scene happens, and all of a sudden you hear. He was very angry at the movie while he was typing his poor keyboard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one of the things I wrote, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I wrote, "Why are you falling in love with someone you'll never meet?" But then at the end they magically meet. So this fucking movie.
Hey, see, now you're putting logic into love, and I'll disagree with you on that. Because you can fall in love with people that you've never met and may not have a future with.
Right.
But you can't control your emotions. So
Right, but this is different though, because this is people that are in two completely different times.
But no, they're not. There is a Keanu that exists in sort of part of 2008 before he gets hit. But yeah, there is a Sandra Bullock character.
What'd you say, Brian?
Worm food.
He's worm food.
Yeah.
There is
He's roadkill.
They do both exist in the same time zone, just the person they're talking to is not that version of them in that same time zone. And I just confuse the hell out of Johnny. I look at the look on his face. So they do both exist. So yeah, you're putting logic to feelings, and come on.
Well,
feelings are not logical.
Feelings and them falling in love. Like when he finds her at the party, I didn't feel any chemistry at all.
No, it's like the two of them didn't know each other.
But you shouldn't feel chemistry because he knew her, but she didn't know him. She hadn't started corresponding with him. And if he had said, hey,
she's been writing letters to him the whole fucking movie.
Not that Sandra hadn't.
Not that one.
No,
Oh, God.
she hadn't even moved
I
to
need
the
more
lake
wine.
house yet. She hadn't
He
even
hadn't started doing that yet.
She had
Fucking
no
movie.
idea who he was. They had not started corresponding. So that's why he didn't say, "Oh, hey, I'm Alex, the guy from your letters that you haven't written yet, but you will in 2 years." Yeah, she would have looked at him and gone, bye. Because, yeah, that would have freaked her out. It would have freaked me out.
Mm-hmm.
Is this movie based off that Jane Austen book? Did they write this movie around that book?
And I mean, no, the Jane Austen book doesn't have time travel in it.
Jane Austen would turn over in her grave if she saw this movie.
But Persuasion is kind of about star-crossed lovers, that they meet at a time that's not possible for them to be together. They separate, and then they meet again. Stop. Then they actually meet again, and it's like, oh, do we still have feelings for each other? Is this the right time for us? Can we make it work? And so it's kind of similar vein.
Well, listen to this. They're at that party. They're on the porch. They're talking, and then they go out and they start dancing. We hear music, right? But there's obviously no music outside. What are they dancing to?
I think it's the
I don't
music coming.
understand.
I think it's the music coming from the house.
yeah, music coming from the party.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't. there was no music coming from the party while they were sitting on the porch talking about Jane Austen. They go and they walk out to the middle of the yard. Still no music, and then the soundtrack starts to slowly rise. Then they start dancing to that.
Maybe there's a restaurant across the street that has music. You never know.
Sure. But my point is that they had a connection. They had a kiss. Keanu knows who she is. She doesn't know who Keanu is, but that's the spark to form the relationship. Let Morgan break up with her. Let the other infatuated girl.
She ended it with Morgan.
Keanu go away.
Yeah.
What's that?
She ended it with Morgan.
Yeah, she did. But I'm saying, like, why didn't they pursue that? There was no real good explanation.
Yeah, because she even admitted, "Oh, I liked you. Why didn't you say something?"
Why didn't he say anything?
Exactly. So why didn't he pursue it, knowing that he knew who she was and that she was going to break up with Morgan? Because she had already told him all of that. The 2008 Sandra Bullock character told him that.
Use this to your advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That one, that's what I'm saying. They waited 4 years when
we could have done it so much sooner.
And yes, and your torture, and your torture would have ended sooner with a shorter movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed drama.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And then the whole thing with the restaurant, I thought it was cute that he goes and he puts the reservation in 2 years beforehand.
Yeah.
But then he goes and gets himself killed by a bus and doesn't show up.
And why the hell does she stay there for what seems like hours? I mean, I would have been like 30 minutes. He's not here. Fuck it. I'm gone.
Oh, I disagree with that, John. If I felt that way about somebody, I would wait until I was kicked out.
Yeah.
I would have waited that long.
Yep.
I don't know.
I would have gotten progressively angrier.
Yes.
But I would have waited.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're nicer than me when it comes to someone like that, especially the first meeting.
Well, no, but technically when they're first meeting, it was kind of a conclusion to the letters in a way of hey, we're finally meeting. They already knew each other. It's not like
they're finally meeting for the first time. So it's their first meeting.
No, but they've met, they've corresponded for so long that they knew each other.
Exactly.
Right, but that's like texting someone you meet on Tinder. You know, like when you meet them for the first time, even though you've been texting with them, you still are meeting them in person for the first time.
No. I'll disagree with you on that.
I'm disagreeing with you.
Because to me it's different because they wrote
on this one.
Yeah, they wrote to each other for so long. They already knew each other. This was just another step.
This is no different than texting someone on Tinder and meeting them in person.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
You hear these stories all the time, especially with like video games. People that have online relationships that have never physically met before, and they're really, really good friends, or they become close, and they meet each other for the first time and they immediately get engaged and married. Like with the internet being as big as it is, you hear these stories all the time now.
Yep.
I disagree with you both, so that's fine.
Yeah. But no, I agree with Brian in that I would have stayed until the restaurant closed and it wasn't possible for them to come, because if I would have left earlier than that, there would have always been that question of, did I miss them? Were they late? Should I have left? So you wouldn't have gotten the closure.
I would have kept drinking though.
Oh yes.
Oh, me too.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
I'm out of my wine and water, so like I kind of need more. I almost want to like pause the recording so I can refill. But
No.
Y'all suck.
Y'all. He's talking about me. I'm the y'all.
Yeah.
But
because
no.
I did put that filter on that gives you a more southern backwoods
it is
accent.
so before the recording started, I had to remind John to make sure he put his filter on my microphone to make me sound like a hick. So
that's what that is.
Yeah, it's a filter. It's not really me, it's actually a filter. So.
Yeah, so for full disclosure here, she listened to the recording where she was with us on 47 meters down, and she was like, "Oh, y'all put a filter on me, make me sound more like a hick." And I was like, "No, I didn't." So, she wants to, she was making sure that I put that same air quote filter on this one. This movie.
All we hear from Brian is,
yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're 40 minutes
in. Keanu living in there's two Keanus. There's dead Keanu and there's
Keanu.
alive Keanu who's with Sandra now.
Roadkill Keanu and alive Keanu, okay.
God.
I can't get over it.
Yeah. Okay, we're 40 minutes in, John.
We're 40 minutes in, and we still haven't even established why Brian's on or Brian's not here. So Brian had a little, and I know this is like, I should have said this in the beginning, but I'm just getting to it now. Fuck it, whatever. Brian had a little car trouble, so he is home and joining us via the magic of the internet.
I mean, as far as they know, I'm in the same room with y'all.
Exactly.
Not anymore. John spilled the beans.
Well, you sound legitimately different. You know, you don't sound like me and Tina and I who are in front of microphones in the same room. But,
This is true.
You know, whatever. It's 40 minutes. Who gives a shit? I'm just pointing it out for the viewers.
Sure.
Listeners, whatever we call them.
Thank God they're not looking at us. No, we don't need to do that. I've got a face for radio. What are you talking about?
Oh, me too.
All right. So,
are we ready to do numbers on this debacle?
I am so ready. I think I've said all that I need to say about this movie. Tina, are you good?
I'm good. Let's do numbers so
All
we
right.
can debate. This may take another 20 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. But so for those wondering what numbers we're talking about the numbers on our leaderboard. The ones you can go to our website, casualmovieclub.com, click on leaderboard. But before I talk about that, let's talk about the other buttons that are up there near the leaderboard button.
Buttons.
One like Patreon. If you guys want to help us out, if y'all want to help us out, if you guys want to give us a hand with keeping the podcast up and running, keeping the lights on, keeping the hosting up, keeping the, our website up, we are self-funded at this point. So if you guys want to help us out, we would deeply, deeply appreciate it. Go to you can click on the Patreon button. It'll take you to our Patreon site where you can contribute as little as $1 or as much as you want per month. And help us out to keep the podcast up and running. We also have our merchandise, which you can click the merch button and you can get a t-shirt or a phone case or a notebook or something with the Casual Movie Club logo and a couple other fun designs. So check that out as well, and that will help support us in addition. So check those out. But if you're thinking, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I'm not giving those bitches money, you can just click on the leaderboard, and that'll take you to the leaderboard, which is where we rate our movies and show the numbers that we score them. We take an average of the ratings given by myself and Brian, and sometimes Tina or whoever else we have as a guest co-host. And you can look at things like 6 different criteria. Brian, would you like to hear Tina talk about the first element of criteria?
I sure would.
Of
I'm just
course
putting you on
you
the spot.
would. I know. Put me on the spot. What is our first element of criteria, John?
It is actually acting.
So acting, how well did the actors do their job? Did they convince you of the role they were trying to play? And John is pointing to himself.
So I'm going to talk about the script. Like, how well was the script written? Were there copious amounts of plot holes? Or was it a well-written script with good dialogue?
We know where that one's going.
Brian, what's the presentation about?
The presentation is the editing and
Have
visual
another one.
effects.
Yeah.
How were they used? Were there too much? Was there not enough? Was there a lot of green screen?
That's right. And then, of course, we get to music and sound, my personal favorite. It's where the soundtrack as a whole. How did it sound? How was the sound mix? The sound effects, the score, the music, the goodies for your ears.
He just loves to say that.
I do.
Yeah.
And Tina, what about the uniqueness? Tell us about that.
Uniqueness. Is this movie original? Or have you seen it 15 times? Now, we're not talking about, The Lake House was filmed in 2006, came out then. So anything past that, early, to 2010 doesn't count. But if you've seen something like, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, you rate this movie based on how unique it is.
Right, but Romeo and Juliet existed in the same time frame. Anyway.
It's a love story. Shush.
And Brian, what about the engagement factor?
The engagement factor is how this movie kept you engaged. Did it keep you engaged?
Or lack of.
Would you rather be weeding Twitter?
I was definitely doing other things besides that, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. I want to let Tina open it up with her rating of the acting. What did you think of the acting?
Okay, so we started a little conversation about this before the movie and put it on hold. But the acting, I actually quite enjoy Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. I think they pulled off the characters. Their characters did have depth. You get the emotion.
Plot holes, but depth.
But plot holes, but that wasn't them. That wasn't them. They did
their job.
They did their job of what it was written, and even the supporting actors did as well. I mean, there really wasn't a weak character in this movie as far as actors. So I'm actually going to give this one a 3.5 on acting. I really do think they did a good job.
Okay, and Brian, what about you?
I agree with a lot of that. I didn't feel a lot of the chemistry that I wanted to feel, but Keanu and Sandra did execute to a really high level. I really liked their dad. Was it Jake Plummer?
Christopher Plummer.
Christopher Plummer, yeah.
Christopher Plummer, yes. The brother was a little weak. He was a little, I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I thought the performances were pretty solid all the way through. I'm going to give it a 3 even.
Okay. I'm actually going to echo that, Brian. I'm going to go with a 3 even as well. Because I was changing my ratings kind of throughout the watch of the movie. I think Keanu was better than Sandra Bullock in this movie, but Sandra Bullock was still quite good. So I'm sticking with a 3 on this because I was between a 4 and a 3, and 3 just feels right to me because yeah, okay.
So for our discussion that we talked about before we move on to the next rating. We already know that we don't like this movie. It's okay. But the acting made it palatable.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
What would this movie be with not great acting? And I think I threw it out there of replace Keanu Reeves with Owen Wilson.
Ooh.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Oh, no. What about
Owen Wilson?
What if you had somebody like Owen Wilson's a very comedic timing.
He's not a serious actor.
No.
Owen Wilson? He's done some pretty good serious roles.
Yeah.
He's had things, but I'm not a huge fan of
I'd
his.
rather see Matthew McConaughey than Owen Wilson.
All right.
Yeah.
What about Owen Wilson's brother, Luke Wilson?
Oh, no.
Ooh. Yeah, see, we're talking about bad actors. Like, what is the worst? So think of the Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock characters. What are the worst actors you think you would throw in that role?
I got it. Okay. Sean William Scott.
Oh, what? No.
Stifler
Tommy
from
Wiseau.
American Pie. He would be the absolute worst.
Tommy Wiseau from The Room.
Yes. Okay. Tommy Wiseau from The Room. 100% you win. Absolutely. Okay. So
what
then,
about Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock. Who would that? I'm thinking like oh God, what the hell's her name? She's a redheaded comedian. She's what the hell's her name?
Kathy
Griffin.
Kathy Griffin. Ooh. She would be awful.
Well, she's just awful in general.
Right. Or Paula Poundstone.
Oh.
Paula Poundstone. That is great.
I'm thinking of I don't know. Have you seen Crazy Rich Asians?
No.
You haven't seen it? It's actually
I know some Crazy Rich Asians.
No, it's actually a really good movie, by the way. So you need to
good like The Lake House?
No, it's actually a good movie.
Would you put Awkwafina in there?
Exactly. Awkwafina.
Yeah, yes.
I have no idea who that is.
Or do you know who Bai Ling is?
No.
She was.
Yeah.
She's. Bad. I think I'm gonna butcher this. I think she's Taiwanese.
Okay.
Thai.
I think she's from Thailand, maybe, or from Taiwan. I'm really getting this wrong, but look up some performances by Bai Ling, Bailing, and she can get crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we had Tommy Wiseau with Bai Ling, you're looking at one train wreck of a movie.
Or even Awkwafina. I mean, I'm telling you, she's something else.
Oh, I got you both beat.
No, don't you dare! I see your screen. No.
Oh, I got you both beat.
Oh Lord!
I guarantee you, I know exactly who would be perfect to be the worst actress in this movie.
Don't even say that pair right now. No,
Kim
no.
Kardashian.
Jesus. I knew he was going to stop there.
Kim Kardashian.
I was waiting for him to say Lindsay Lohan because that was on a screen too.
Isn't she dead?
No.
No,
she died.
she's not dead.
She's probably in jail.
I thought she died.
No.
She is not dead.
She's
Who died?
She's just
Some
a druggie.
little skinny
Ooh.
chick died like what, 10 years ago?
Oh, no, I've got one. Amanda Bynes.
Who is that?
Amanda Bynes has actually turned it around recently. She did have her crazy times.
Yeah,
She
but no, I'm
did.
saying as an actress, she's not good.
Or
Oh,
Carmen
no,
Electra?
correct.
Okay. So anyway, this is a great time to have a little interaction from the audience here.
Oh,
Why
wait.
don't you let us
Wait.
know? Hold on. Why don't you let us
Paris
know?
Hilton.
Oh, God. As you can see, the suggestions are getting worse. So why don't you let us know what your awful pairings would be for this movie to see it go into total train wreck?
Yes. So we are replacing Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Whom would you like to see in this? So tweet us at Casual Movie Club and tell us who you'd like to see
Or not
and
see.
throw in a hashtag The Lake House. Throw that in there and let us know who would you want to see playing those roles and making this movie yet more of a train wreck than it actually is.
It's not really a train wreck, but
I
anyway,
disagree.
moving on.
Anyway,
Okay.
so I'm gonna start out with script, and I'm gonna go with my favorite rating of bad scripts, 0.25. I think there's way too many plot holes. I think the character, you know what, 0.5. I'll be a little generous, but there's so many plot holes. The dialogue is cheesy. It's sappy. But just the storyline, the time traveling mailbox, really? 0.5. Brian, how about you?
Man, get out of my head, because I said this at the top of the show. I didn't realize how bad this was until this rewatch. The actors made decisions that just didn't make any sense to me, and they were phasing in and out of timelines with no explanation at all. It was at times incomprehensible how they got from
I like
point
that.
A to point B. I'm going to give the script a 1 even.
I think that's generous, but okay. And Tina, what are you going to give the script, a 4?
No, I'm actually just not as cruel as you guys. So I kind of split it into, again, my thoughts of the romantic story versus the sci-fi portion of it. And the sci-fi portion of it was just horrible.
So was the story?
No, the romantic story was actually well written. If you look at how the characters interacted, they got to know each other and likes and dislikes, and it just kind of how they interacted together. That was well written. And then the issue with the daddy issues were actually they were in there. It wasn't great. I'm not gonna say it's great. Okay, I'm not that bad. But I am gonna give it a 2.
All right.
Okay. I can respect that.
And Tina, while you're in the hot seat, what about presentation? What did you think of the presentation?
Yeehaw. Okay, there were some stunning scenes, especially over the lake, the sun rising after he had the conversation with his dad about love and the light. And there were a few, when they did the split screen with the benches in the park, and then also mainly the benches in the park. The cafeteria tables were one, but the benches in the park was really weird to me, and it looked funky. It wasn't a smooth. There could have been some better stuff down there.
Yeah.
Either make them more different or make it better.
Right.
It just didn't flow. So, but all in all, I mean, I think the scenery, the camera angles, all of that, it was a professional quality movie. I'm gonna actually give it a 3 on that.
Oh man, wow.
All right,
Yeah.
Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a really well produced movie. The as much as I hated the tree appearing out of nowhere, that was really well done. The direction of the camera was top notch. Not a lot of effects other than what Tina's mentioned already, but I thought it was decent. It was middle of the road, good. So I'll give presentation a 3.
See,
Okay.
but that pained Brian to actually say something good about this movie. You could hear it in his voice. I think John may actually have even more pain.
Yeah. So visually, I mean, it looked fine because it was shot on cinema grade cameras, so I have no issue with that. But the issues I agree with Brian. The tree appearing out of nowhere. I think the like when they were doing the split screens, like at the in the cafe, in the benches and everything, there was not enough division to show they were in two different times. So because it looked confusing in that it looked like they were both in the same time. So the visuals, besides being nice and looking good, they added to the fucked up plot holes that this movie has. So it's a 2.5 for me for presentation.
He just wanted to say the word plot holes one more time, and I'm sure it'll come up more. Yeah.
Music and sound for me, I really didn't have any problem with it. The scoring was fine. I thought the music selection was fine. It's a 3, middle of the road. Brian?
I was not a fan of a lot of the songs they picked. It was they often. I recognized a lot of like the marquee songs, like the stuff that would be like on the soundtrack of the album if you bought it. I like those, but they felt bland. Nothing really popped for me soundtrack wise. It was all just background noise.
It was forgettable.
It was forgettable. Yes, really good word for it. I thought they could have done so much better. I wrote a note down about the soundtrack in particular. I can't find it in the sea of bad, boring, though. Yeah, I can't find it. I'm not going to take all this time to look for it either. I rate the music and sound a 2 even.
Okay. And Tina, what did you think of the sound?
Okay, so I'm going to have to disagree with you two. Because I actually adored...
Here comes a 5.
No, it's not a 5. But I adored the songs that they picked because they were old love songs. I mean, the movie they picked in the background. I mean, you're looking at, 1940s, 1950s, big band. Rosemary Clooney and all of that. They stayed within that 1950-ish era with the songs and the featured movie. That the little girl was watching and then that Sandra Bullock was watching when she was in the apartment. So all of that tied together and kind of the old romance of it all. So I think they actually did tie it in together very well with what they were trying to do to try to make it a classic love story is what they were trying to hit with that. I know John's giving me this crazy look, but when you
the time traveling mailbox is so classic.
But no, what I'm saying is for the music. The music and that part of it, the sound, they tried to keep it in that vein of this 1950s, 1960s, 1940s, very classic love story on that vein of it. So I'm actually going to give it a 3.5 for the music. See, it's not a 5.
Well, there was a 5 in there.
Yes, yeah, you had a 5 in script too. Yeah.
Yes, preceded by a 0. Anyway, Tina, uniqueness. What did you think of the uniqueness factor of this movie?
Okay, so this may shock you. I'm actually going to give it a uniqueness of 1. And let me tell you why.
Really?
Yes. So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. Let me tell you. So first of all, the love story, I mentioned Shakespeare earlier. Let's start there. And then how many different love stories? I mean, there's a freaking movie called A Love Story, which is what they were watching. Been there, done that. Star-crossed lovers can't meet, blah, 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 blah. And then the one uniqueness factor they tried to put in was the mailbox, and it didn't work. So it wasn't really unique. It was just bad. So it's really just not a unique movie. It just didn't work for me.
Interesting. Okay. So you're giving it a 1.
Yes.
And Brian, what do you got?
Wow. I wish I had that perspective when I scored it my uniqueness.
You can have that perspective.
I could, but it's not my perspective. I would just be adopting Tina's. So
okay.
Well, I am awesome, so
I thought the romance aspect of it was fine. I'd seen it a bunch of times before, so there's nothing really new there. The mailbox plot device was just that. It was just a plot device to really facilitate the story that they wanted to tell. And the story that they wanted to tell was time traveling correspondence. Like the mailbox facilitated that. So with that in mind, as the crux of this movie, these lovers who could never meet because of their time difference, I thought that was very, very unique. Barring the end of the movie, which is its own fucking thing, I did not agree with how it ended at all. Like, Keanu should never have survived. But barring all of that, I thought the movie was generally unique in its execution. So for that, I give it a 3.
All right. I'm actually also giving it a 3 because I think that, yes, there were a lot of tropes that were in there that are evident in other stories, things like, the Tina mentioned Romeo and Juliet, but then you add this element of time travel, and you add this element of this distance between them that's not a space thing, but a time thing. That does give some points for uniqueness.
So I'll disagree with you on that just by adding in the time traveler's wife. It's also a love story, and it actually works. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, is that 1980? Is that 86?
They've remade it.
What is that?
They've remade it since then, but it's a book. But yeah. So anyway, go ahead, John. I'm so sorry.
I'm sticking with my 3. Anyway, engagement factor. I'll put myself out of my own misery. 1. I'm going with a 1 for engagement factor. But I will also say this: I am not the target audience for this movie. I am a skeptic when it comes to, romantic movies. I know the term chick flick has been kind of thrown around. I don't particularly care for these types of movies. So being that I'm not the target audience, I'm just going to say right now that, it's obvious from talking that I didn't like it. I was not engaged. Now, someone who can look past all these plot holes and the plot of it and just what's going on, they might find this movie very interesting, very cute, very fun, but it's not my kind of thing. So it's a 1 for me. Brian, what about you?
Well, I wanted to be engaged, but like I mentioned several times, it just, whenever time travel was not involved, whenever they weren't writing letters to each other, as much as I disliked their conversations, it didn't keep my attention. I could not. I just couldn't stay with it. It kept me at a 2 for engagement factor.
Okay. And Tina, how engaged were you?
So, hey, target audience speaking here.
4.5.
No, actually.
I'm going to give it a 4.5. I love this movie.
Okay, really? I do not sound like that. We're just going to move on.
That's with the filter on.
Oh, yeah. Shut up. All right. So much love in the room. So much love.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so technically, I am the target audience because I'm a girl.
Really? I had no idea.
I know. Surprise, surprise. Hey, audience, I'm a girl. Hey. Yeah, for all the one of you listening right now. What? Okay, anyway. Oh, it's getting late. Okay, so with that said, again, I have to split the movie up into 2 parts. The romantic part, it hits my little girly heart going, ah. Because it's also Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, so you kind of go, ah. But then there's, I am also an engineer, so, and a sci-fi nerd, and proud of it. Thank you very much. Don't take the word nerd personally. Awesome. I love it. I'm proud to be a nerd, and I relish in that fact. So moving on with that, the sci-fi part of it, that part of me goes, what the ever-loving fuck is that? Turn this shit off and go watch some Gene Roddenberry.
Or Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, that actually has more truth to it than this, believability in this movie did.
Yeah.
So from an engagement factor, like I said, I'm torn because the romantic part of me goes, let me see them together. Oh, it's so cute. And then like I said, the science part of me goes, what the hell? So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.
A 2?
A 2.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. The science part of me overrules the romance 99% of the time in my brain.
Okay.
I can respect that.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Now you give me a real, like I said, Time Traveler's Wife, that is Amazeballs. Just saying. If you want to like a romance that has real like good stuff in it, yeah, I love that one. But anyway, moving on.
Okay. So I am so before we lock in our numbers, I'd like to open it up to the floor. Anybody wish to do a take backsies for any of their scores?
No. The uniqueness one for me is the only one that I would probably modify, but I stand by my score.
Okay. And Tina?
No, I'm solid in what I got.
Okay. So I am going to I'm going to inflict a take backsies on music and sound and go down to a 2.5.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
There we go. Just because I was kind of thinking about it after I did the score, and I was like, you know what? I think 3 is too generous, so I'm going 2.5 on that. Okay, so is everybody officially locking in their scores?
I'm locked and ready to rock. Come on.
All right. And
Locked
Brian?
and loaded, baby.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all ages and times, we have our scores for The Lake House from 2006, a work of cinematic genius. It goes a little something like this: acting 3.17, script 1.17, presentation 2.83, music and sound 2.67, uniqueness 2.33, engagement factor 1.67 for a total average of 2.31, which actually puts it right between Scooby-Doo and Knock Knock.
Knock
Knock is a better movie than that.
Hey, no, I was not here to rate Knock Knock.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Oh, I was not here to
I
rate
love
Knock
that.
Knock. No, I don't like that.
You had the option of doing a take backsies, but you
No, I'm good. But just for everybody to know, Knock Knock is horrible. It's awful.
didn't. Apparently,
But you know what?
It's better than the Lake House.
I agree. But
What,
I
Brian?
don't know. Knock Knock is a funner movie than The Lake House.
Free pizza. Free pizza.
Free pizza. What am I supposed to do? Not eat the free pizza?
Yeah.
Oh,
So for
Daniel.
now, if you don't know what we're talking about on free pizza, you need to go back to Casual Movie Club and search for Knock Knock and listen to that episode.
Yes.
If you haven't seen the movie, yes, absolutely. But all I have to say is the Lake House rates above 47 meters down.
Well, everything is
yeah.
above 47 meters down.
That's the way life should be.
Yeah, 47 meters down is last place.
It's awful. It's even below the craft. It's awful. So my awful movie is proven to be the most awful right now. I'm just saying.
All right. Anyway, so I'm just marking the scores down on our master spreadsheet there. So that's probably going to be about it. Anybody else have anything you want to throw in? I've got a couple things, but I want to just open it up here. Anybody else want to say anything else?
No, I think I've pretty much exhausted my notes. I think I'm good.
Okay. And Tina, do you want to say anything else?
I hope everybody has a lovely Valentine's Day, regardless if you're spending it with a group, with someone you love, or all by yourself.
Yeah, or watching a horrible movie like The Lake House. So I thought there were two things on the IMDb trivia that I thought were pretty cool. So one thing was it says Alex gets hit by a bus traveling to Wabash in The Lake House. In The Matrix, Neo is sent to a hotel on the corner of Wabash and Lake.
Huh.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's got to be an Easter egg.
Yeah. And then the other piece of trivia that I thought was cool, let's see, I'm just looking at my notes. Where's it at here? Oh, this is a copy and paste, so that was more like,
Oh, okay.
like just two keystrokes.
Well, you just said, notes and, let's not even go on that two strokes conversation. It's Valentine's Day. Let's
Really?
not disappoint anybody.
Really?
Yeah, really.
You're going there, really?
Yeah, I said we won't go there, but yeah, I brought up
You
the topic.
just went there.
I did. So I'm waiting for you to find that IMDb fact. I'm keeping everybody entertained.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The other thing I thought was fun, well, there's two more things. So I thought it was funny. There was the director actually made a cameo in the movie. He was the guy on the bus when shortly after Sandra and Keanu started communicating, and she was like, "We should introduce each other properly," and he sprayed the breath spray in his mouth.
He was reading the paper next to her.
Right, that was actually the director.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, he was creepy.
Yeah. So the other piece of IMDb trivia that I was looking for, Sandra Bullock states that she felt compelled to name the dog Jack after the character of Keanu Reeves, Jack Traven, in Speed, the first movie the two of them made together.
So there's your chemistry, Brian. Ugh.
Yeah, but they had more chemistry and speed than they had in this.
They did.
This Drek.
Yeah, because I think they actually, they were flirting with each other in Speed.
They existed in the same time.
Oh, Jesus.
They didn't need a mailbox to communicate.
They shared more than 3 minutes of scene time together.
More than 2 strokes of the pen? What?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you guys think of this movie? Tweet us at Casual Movie Club or send us a direct message on Instagram at Casual Movie Club. What do you think of The Lake House? Take a look at it, watch it, rip it apart, shit on it, whatever you want to do, but tell us, because we would love to hear, because obviously we have a fairly polarized opinion of this movie. I absolutely hate it. Brian hates it, but I don't think he hates it as much as I do. And then Tina hates it the least. And it's kind of reflected in the numbers because, the way we do our numbers, I have a total average for each of us. So my total average, 2.08, Brian's 2.33, and Tina's 2.50. So Tina likes this movie, according to the numbers. Tina likes this movie the most, followed by Brian, followed by me. What do you guys think of the movie? Let us know, because we definitely want to know. And if you guys want to have any say in the future movies that we do, become a Patreon member. And if you, I think it's the $5 or the $10 tier, you can help us pick movies to do on the podcast.
Yeah.
Now Tina's looking at me funny.
Well, I'm just trying to say, if somebody wants to do, like a $20 Patreon, they can decide what movie I come in and be a special guest on again, if they would like.
Oh, yes.
Or what movie they don't want me to be a special guest on.
Ooh, yes. So check that out. Don't delay. Buy today. Anyway, that's going to be it for the Casual Movie Club episode number 54. Everybody have a fabulous day, fabulous evening. Whenever you're listening to this, make sure it's a fabulous time for you. And we'll see you next time where we do, I think, a surprise movie
Contagion.
from you, right? No, next
No, it's Contagion. We were going to do Contagion this week, but then we forgot it was Valentine's Day. So next week's Contagion.
Right.
And then we'll get back on the surprise movie train.
Exactly. So we're going to do Contagion next week in honor of or out of respect for or motivated by the Wuhan coronavirus. So we're going to do Contagion next week and then something Brian picks for the week after. Until then, we'll see ya.
Love the one you're with.
Bye.
Bye.
As long as they're in the same time zone.